Good morning, Pre-K 4 friends. Today's story, Miss Maria will read you, is called Sandy's Incredible Shrinking Footprint. It's a little bit longer than what we're used to, but you're going to learn a lot about garbage and recycling. Sandy's Incredible Shrinking Footprint. The author is Famita Handy and Carol Carpenter. And Adriana Steele Card was the illustrator. Sandy's Incredible Shrinking Footprint. We're going to find out what a footprint means. Not like just a footprint that we put in the snow or in the sand. Sandy skipped down the steps of her grandpa's house. Her dog Pepper raced past her and bolted down the hill, so she ran really fast, heading for the beach in the wide blue sea. She stopped for a moment and took a big, deep breath of the fresh sea air. It was such a perfect summer day. That's my favorite kind of day, by the beach. Anyway, Sandy and her parents lived in the city, but they visited Grandpa every summer. It was the best 3 weeks of the whole year. Pepper thought so too. By the time Sandy reached the seashore, he was running in all directions, splashing in the waves, chasing seagulls, and rolling in the sand. "No, Pepper, you'll get all dirty." The beach was Sandy's favorite place in the world. It was Grandpa's favorite place too, and he was teaching her all about it. He told her about sea animals like starfish and jellyfish and octopuses. Could you see them? And look closely at these pictures as we turn the pages. And look how the illustrations are made. They're very special. Grandpa showed her tiny crabs that skittered all over the beach and buried themselves in the sand. He found perfect seashells for her, no bigger than her smallest fingernail, and showed her footprints made by different birds. Woof, woof! Sandy looked over her shoulder to see what Pepper was barking at and, ow! Fell over some half-burned logs. Somebody had built a bonfire there and she had landed right in their garbage. Yuck! What a mess! Bits of hot dog buns, squished soda cans, empty popcorn bags, even a bright yellow plastic mustard container. Who would leave such a pile of trash? Didn't they know about picking up after themselves? Hadn't they ever heard of recycling? Sandy was disgusted. The beach was so beautiful. Nobody had the right to spoil it like this. She picked up a grubby plastic bag and put the mustard bottle and soda cans in it for recycling. "No, Pepper, don't eat those old dirty buns." She filled another bag with rubbish. Candy wrappers, chip bags, and a dill pickle. Ick! Her hands were filthy and streaked with black from the burned logs. But she kept working. Nobody could do this to her beach. Suddenly, a shadow loomed over Sandy. Somebody was right behind her. Somebody big. Somebody huge. Oh no, it's a monster of garbage. Sandy had heard stories about a crazy old woman who roamed the beach picking up junk. She put it in bags and hung the bags all over herself, so she looked like a walking mountain of garbage. What should Sandy do? Scream? Run away? And what about Pepper? Where was he? Look, she's doing a good job cleaning all this up. That was not safe that they left those logs there either. "Oh my," said the giant shadow. "Let me help you with this mess." Sandy gulped. Then she remembered what Grandpa had said about the garbage lady. "She's harmless, and she's not crazy," he had told Sandy. "She's just, a little different." The garbage lady bent to pick up the greasy paper bag. "Isn't this sad?" she said. "Imagine what the world would look like if everybody dumped their garbage and nobody cleaned up after themselves." There'd be piles of paper, the garbage lady boomed, towers of tin cans, pyramids of plastic, stacks of styrofoam. And this is what they think the world might look like from the sky. If we look at our Earth, we could see all those piles of paper and the towers of tin cans. Sandy picked up a wad of soggy paper napkins and looked up at the garbage lady. I guess maybe these were once part of a tree. What a strange thought. Maybe a tree far away, and it took land to grow that tree, and machines to make the napkins too, and then trucks and trains to get them here. Does that mean I shouldn't use paper napkins or drink soda pop from cans? There's all the trees cut down that we use to make paper. The garbage lady smiled. It means you should think about your footprint. Sandy looked down at her sneakers, puzzled. What was wrong with her footprints? The garbage lady laughed. Oh, not the footprints that you leave on your feet. The footprint of your life is the mark you leave on the world. Its size depends on what you eat, what you play with, how you get around, all kinds of little choices you can make your footprint. All kinds of little choices can make your footprint smaller. You can throw out a pop can or recycle it. Which one makes your footprint smaller? Recycling, right? Said Sandy. Pepper started barking, and Sandy heard her mom calling her. I have to go home from lunch, she said. It was great meeting you. Maybe I'll see you again. I hope so, my dear. Take care, and don't forget about shrinking your footprint. The garbage lady tied several more bags of junk to her belt and her backpack and then walked off down the beach. Sandy picked up the last 3 bags and ran home with Pepper leaping around her. I met the garbage lady, Mom. She's really nice. We cleaned up a big mess on the beach. Do you know about footprints? Stop and take a breath, said Sandy's mother. You're quite a big mess yourself. You'd better go and wash up. I'm going to shrink my footprint, Mom, Sandy shouted as she bounded up the stairs. Her mother looked puzzled. Sandy chattered all through lunch about garbage and footprints. I know why we try to reuse stuff. We use brown paper bags to wrap things for mailing, and I use old egg cartons for storing my treasures, she said, and we recycle a lot, but I want to make sure our footprints are even smaller. I know the first thing we can do, said Grandpa. We can make a list. They put all their minds to work, and the list got longer and longer. The grown-ups thought about grown-up footprints shrinking ideas, and Sandy added footprint shrinking things that she could do. Sandy smiled as she imagined her own footprint shrinking and shrinking, and then she got up and danced ever so gently around the room on her very small tippy toes. Her footprint was getting tinier and tinier. What about yours? So, here are some ways that we could shrink our footprints. So this is the footprint on the world, what we're going to leave behind, right? We don't want to waste things. So one way is we could walk or take a bike instead of driving the car. We could grow our own food. We could buy things nearby so they're not shipped from far away. We could give our clothes away or have a sale. We could compost. So we've been talking about composting in the garden, and that turns garbage into soil. So we could do that. Instead of buying books, we could trade books or go to the library. We could write on both sides of the paper. We could turn off the lights when we leave a room, turn off the water when we brush our teeth, and take shorter baths and showers. We could lower the heat at night, and we could ask our friends if they can think of making their footprints smaller too. So we have to talk about it and educate people, right? So that we could make our footprints smaller. Now, remember Miss Maria told you about look carefully at the pictures? This book was illustrated with recycled and natural materials. So there's birch bark from the trees on her arms. This over here is from a recycled magazine. This is handmade recycled paper. This is fabric, chenille fabric. This is a pressed orchid petal. It's a flower, and that's a rose petal. And there's our recycling symbol. We've seen that before, right? When we recycle, we reuse things, and it goes around and around. Okay, the end.